Welcome to yoga. Meet me in a seated position on your mat. Any comfortable seated position that works for you. You can even sit on a chair for this first part. From your seated position, sit up tall, and we'll begin with some shoulder rolls. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears, and then down your back. Inhale, shoulders shrug up. Exhale, shoulders shrug down. One more time, up and down. Now slowly lower your chin down towards your chest. Notice any new sensation as you deepen your breath in and out through your nose. And relax everything else you don't need if you're tensing through your jaw, your eyebrows, your shoulders. Then draw your chin back up to center for one big breath in. And out, slowly lower your chin back down. We aim for subtle sensation and consistent practice. This is not about getting the most intense stretch. It's time and practice that you'll get the best result. So draw your chin back up, inhale. Exhale to lower your chin back down one last time. And you can practice these neck stretches every day if you tend to carry a lot of tension in your neck and shoulders. And draw your chin back up. Exhale, switch right ear to your right shoulder, left hand past your side. If you want to add a little extra sensation, take your right hand to the top of your head and give it a very gentle pull. And come back to center and switch sides. Left ear to your left shoulder, both shoulders relaxed. If you grabbed on the other side, make sure you do so here. Just one more time on each side. Come back to center, inhale. Exhale, switch. Come back to center, inhale. Exhale, switch, left ear to your left shoulder. Now come back to center. This time, turn your chin to the right and lower your chin down, nose towards your armpit. And use your right hand to grab onto the back of your head, giving a very gentle pull. And you should feel a stretching sensation at the back of your neck, all the way to the top of your shoulder blade, or even to the inside of your shoulder blade. Then come back to center and switch sides. Turn your chin to the left, then lower your chin down, nose towards your armpit, and use your left hand to grab onto the back of your head. Breathe. Return to center, inhale. 2 more times on each side. Exhale, turn to the right, lower your chin down. Grab on if it feels good for you. Relax your eyebrows, your eyelids, your jaw. Inhale back to center. Exhale to switch sides. Anytime you notice the muscles in your face tense up, remind yourself to let go and soften. Inhale, come back to center. 1 more time on each side. Exhale, switch. Because if you're trying to release tension in some of the more stubborn muscles in your body, you might as well start with the ones you have the most control of, like your expression, your jaw, even your shoulders, your hands, your hips. Inhale back to center. Exhale, switch, lower down to your left. And we repeat each side a couple of times to help ease your body into relaxation. So just breathe, relax what you don't need, trust the process. Then come back to center. Your time as you slowly rise and make your way to downward facing dog. With a generous bend in your knees, begin to straighten out one leg and then the other, finding a pace, even a movement that serves you best today. Then from here, let's set up half pigeon. Bring your right knee up towards your right wrist. Lay your shin flat on your mat and sink into your hips. Your shin will only be parallel to the top of your mat when you are super duper flexible. Today, find the position that serves you so that your hips can still be squared off towards the front of your mat. Then slowly walk your hands forward, taking your time as you lower down towards your mat. If this position doesn't feel right for you, you're always welcome to take a figure 4 variation instead, either down on your back or with your legs up the wall. Either way, a figure 4 variation is a wonderful way to get deep into your glute and hip without all of the added body weight on top of the stretch. Just find the position that serves you today. Then focus on your breath and any connection between this deep, smooth belly breath and the sensation you feel in your right hip and glute. See if you can relax your shoulders, your neck and jaw. Melt into your mat. As slow as you'd like to go, rise. And make your way to hero, sitting on your knees and heels. Gently close your eyes and lower your left ear down towards your left shoulder. Relax your right shoulder away from your right ear. Relax your jaw, your eyelids, your eyebrows. And draw your chin back to center. Make your way back to downward facing dog. And switch sides. Left knee towards your left wrist. Sink into your hips. Sink down towards your mat with your hips squared off towards the front of your mat. And if you modified on the other side, make sure you do so here. We'll be here for a couple of minutes, so take your time as you slowly settle and soften into place. Allow yourself to feel whatever comes up, whether it's physical or emotional. Observe it, notice it. And then just as easily as you let your breath go, let this feeling go, like a balloon, floating away. Inhaling to create space. Exhaling to release tension. Inhaling the new. Exhaling the old. Continue breathing, relaxing, as you sink further into your left side. Nice and slow. Take your time as you slowly rise, walking your hands back up. Take a seat in hero on your knees and heels. Completely relaxed and calm. Just lower your right ear towards your right shoulder and let your left shoulder drop away. For a few smooth, slow breaths. And draw your chin back to center. Come forward to a tabletop on your hands and knees. And for puppy dog pose, keep your hips above your knees as you walk your hands forward, melting your chest down towards the mat. And with your forehead resting on your mat, breathe. Using your deep breath to create space wherever you need it most. And slowly walk your hands back. Shift your hips towards your heels through a traditional child's pose. Take your arms down by your sides, palms facing up behind you. And feel your shoulders roll open, your hips relax as you settle into a tiny little ball. One at a time, plant your hands underneath your shoulders and rise.
Take a nice wide stance on your sticky mat. Could be about a leg's distance or less, and just fold forward. So bend the knees, just melt forward. You can clasp opposite elbows and sway, hang, have the knees straight or bent. You can bend into one knee and straighten the other leg. Just traction the low back, draw the chin into the chest, and just notice where your hamstring flexibility is today. So not pushing into anything yet, just hanging. And then take a peek at your feet as your hands drop to the floor. Make sure your heels are wider than your toes. So you're kind of pigeon-toed, so toes in, heels out. And then inhale, press into your shins, come up into a little flat back. And then exhale, melt forward. Hands can stay on the legs or the floor. Inhale, half lift. You're just feeling into the backs of the legs and the outer shins. Exhale, fold. One more. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Good. Take the hands to the hips. Inhale into a flat back, so spine parallel to the floor. Breathe in and out. Hamstring should be engaged and working here. And then your next inhale, come on up. Whew. And right away, we've stretched and strengthened the hamstrings just a touch. So come to the front of your sticky mat now. Good. Step or carry the right foot forward now. So coming first into a little lunge, stretching the front of the left thigh. Hands on the right thigh, interlace, press down, lift the heart, and you're just looking for a juicy stretch right here. Sink the hips down. Keep the breath nice and full. Maybe lift the gaze. Good, and then shift your weight back on this left leg and flex the right foot. So some of you might need to stay kind of up with the hands on the hips here, or use blocks or blankets or a coffee table at home. Some of you may be able to have the fingers lightly on the floor. Doesn't matter, we're just looking for a really deep stretch along this right hamstring. So just fold as much as your flexibility allows. As long as you're feeling a little something on the back leg, you're doing it right. Keep flexing the toes back towards the face, squeezing the inner thighs together. Maybe you stay here, or maybe on your out breaths, you lengthen the spine, telescoping the spine to get longer out of the pelvis, and fold. Good, rebend into this front right knee. Heel toe the foot wide, so the heel's on your sticky mat, but the toes are on the wood. Take both hands to the inside of the right thigh and just kind of move the hips back and forth. I love this move. It feels so good in my body. And once again, we're opening hip flexors, inner groin. Keep deepening the breath. Good, and then pull back to all fours. Those of you that have a regular practice, you can take down dog, and if you want, move through vinyasa, plank, chaturanga, up dog. Otherwise, just stay in all fours with me. Deep breath. And we'll all meet together to step or carry this left foot forward. So, Hands on the thigh. As a first step, rolling the chest open. Deep breaths in and out. Let the pelvis sink towards the floor, but keep a little bit of a muscular hug between the inner thighs, so you're not just a wet noodle. Good. And then coming into that deep, deep hamstring stretch, so pressing back, flexing the left toes up towards the sky, and figuring out where you want to be with this. You can always kind of adjust the knee, inner thighs are scissoring, heart is shooting forward, and you're exhaling, folding just to your ability. Notice if you just like round the upper spine, that's not really intensifying the hamstring stretch. You're just hunching over. So see if you can find length and find the foot really active and flexed, and let that be what's powering this deep stretch along the back of the leg. 2 more breaths. Good. Rebend into the front left knee. Heel toe the foot out wide. So left foot, heel toes out, heel on the mat, toes on the wood. Both hands to the inside of the left foot, and just rocking and rolling a little bit back and forth. Good. Come back to all fours. Curl the toes under. Press back to downward facing dog. Pedal through the legs. And step or carry the right foot to where the right hand is. So you can always kind of carry it forward. Look down, widen your stance so your feet are at least as wide as your hips. So your feet are making railroad tracks along the center of your mat. So you're nice and stable. And then from here, take the hands to the right shin. Lengthen the spine. Pull your right hip back and your left hip down, and then fold, leading from the heart. So again, we're feeling into the hamstring again, and a little bit of a different stretch. 3 deep breaths. Again, if you have blocks at home or want to place your hands on couches or tables so you can be a little more upright, lengthen the spine, that's great. And for our last moment here, if you want, flex the toes back towards the face. Ooh, always makes the hamstring stretch more intense for me. Nice, and then switch legs. So if you want, you can just step the left foot forward and the right foot back. So you can find the same stretch on the second side. Press into the shin to find length first. Think of pulling the left hip back and the right hip forward, scissoring the inner thighs. So we're always going to get the best stretch in our hamstrings when our legs are engaged. So really think of your feet pressing, rooting down into the earth, and you're sucking up through the arches of your feet. The more you do that, the more you're going to feel the back of your legs turn on and grip. That's actually what we want, because that's where we're going to find a really safe, purposeful stretch as you fold forward. Keep breathing slow and deep. Find length behind the heart. Good, and then for the last moment here, if you want, flex the toes back towards the face. Whew. Nice, and then when you replace the foot, step back to downward facing dog, or if you'd rather take all fours, that's completely fine. And gently stroll or walk to the top of the mat, however you want to get there. Feet hip width apart and parallel. And I want you to hold your big toes in yogi toe lock. Now this is going to be accessible for some, not all. If you can't reach the toes, and interlace your peace fingers around your big toes, no big deal, just clasp your hands at the nape of your neck and traction this way. This is still going to be a really great hamstring stretch, and you can play with bending and straightening the legs. Otherwise, if you can, peace fingers around big toes, And no matter where you are, begin rolling the weight into the balls of your feet. If you need the knees to be bent, that's fine. Otherwise, deeper hamstring stretch to straighten the legs. Notice how the weight wants to fall back into your heels. So roll the weight forward into the balls of your feet. Keep deepening the breath, and if you have hold of the big toes, bend the elbows to take you deeper into the stretch. Maybe take the chin a little bit side to side, releasing the neck. Good. And then wherever you are, staying folded forward here, I just want you to roll your mat backwards towards you. So roll it about halfway back towards you, and then step just the balls of your feet on the mat, heels, or so the balls of the feet on the rolled up portion and your heels below. And then hold opposite elbows, or hold the big toes in yogi toe lock like we did before. Except now the stretch is going to be even deeper because we've elevated the balls of the feet. So keep rolling the weight forward. And just take a couple breaths to hang out here. Again, totally a good idea to bend the knees and re-straighten. Gently bend the knees and re-straighten. Really slow everything down. Make sure the back of the neck is long, head heavy like a bowling ball. Keep rolling the weight forward into the toes. And again, if you have a lot of flexibility and you're holding the toes easily, bend the elbows left to right. That's the next big step. Good. All right, let your mat unroll. Bend your knees and slow spinal roll up. So chin into chest, round through the low back, mid back, upper back. Head is last thing to come up. Nice job. And let's come back to just that wide-legged stance that we started with. So pigeon toe the feet right away, toes in, heels out, hands on hips. Inhale, open the chest, and exhale, fold forward. And just notice how this stretch feels different than the one we did at the beginning of class. Now, it might feel like your hamstrings are tighter in the sense that they've been worked, or they might feel better. Ideally, they feel a combination of stronger, but you're also able to maybe fold forward a little bit more than you were able to when you first came on the mat. So just take a moment to play here upside down. I like to sway side to side. You could always also walk your hands behind you towards the back long edge of your mat. And then same way we started, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Good, hands to hips. Inhale, come to a flat back. Take a breath in and out. Feel the backs of the legs engage once again, because we want strong, healthy hamstrings, not overly stretched, not strong hamstrings. Good, and then inhale, come all the way up. Nice, step the feet towards one another. Inhale the arms up. Exhale them down through prayer. And just take a moment to acknowledge all your work in this practice. Micro bend the knees. Notice how the backs of the legs feel.
Come back to downward facing dog. With your feet about hip distance, hands planted on the mat. This next sequence will move about 3 breaths, 1 movement. Now step your right foot to the upper right corner of your mat for a runner's lunge. Feel free to lower your back knee down, then lower the weight of your head down as you sink into your hips. With your left hand planted, Lift your back knee up, then reach your right arm up to the ceiling for a dragonfly and feel free to lean back into this one. Use your breath to create even more space through your chest and shoulders. Next is extended side angle. Lower your right hand down, plant it inside of your right ankle, spin your back heel down, then reach your left arm high. Use the leverage of your right elbow against your right knee to keep it tracking open. One more big breath in. As you breathe out, plant your left hand down, step your back foot forward into a yogi squat. Heels in, toes out, hips low, hands together at heart center. Lift your heart up to meet your thumbs. Find the yogi in the yogi squat with a calm, relaxed face. And a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Release your hands down, reach your hips high for a wide leg forward fold. Let your head hang heavy and feel free to add a chest expansion. Three, two, one. Plant your hands down on your mat and step your right foot back into a runner's lunge on your left side. Find a similar variation that you took on the other side. Find a similar deep breath. And notice how this side might feel different from the other. For dragonfly, plant your right hand down, reach your left arm high. With your back knee lifted up off the mat, stretch through your back heel and feel free to lean back into your left shoulder. Then for extended side angle, plant your left arm down inside of your left ankle, then reach your right arm high as you spin your back heel down and work on opening up through your body. Lean back. And it's okay if this side feels different than the other. It's actually pretty normal to have one side that's a little bit more flexible than the other. Then lower your right hand down and make your way to your yogi squat. As long as you treat both sides the same, meaning don't coddle the less flexible side and then lean into the more flexible side. Find that middle ground, and eventually your body will begin to catch up with itself. Next is a wide leg fold. Hands down to your mat, hips high, head heavy. This time, try adding ragdoll arms. Then from here, make your way back to downward facing dog. It's here. Pedal out your legs and settle in. When you're ready, reach your right leg high. Then open up your hips, bend your knee, and sink your heel towards your glute. You should feel a big opening through your right hip flexor. Breathe into that. Next inhale, straighten out your right leg. As you exhale, step it through to a low lunge. Stack your right knee above your ankle, spin your back heel down, and set up Warrior One. Hips are squared off to the top of your mat, lower belly is firm, arms reaching up overhead, but keep your shoulders soft. Sink into your hips and stand tall. Big breath in. As you breathe out, open up into a Warrior Two. Arms are strong, belly is firm, right knee tracking open. Straighten out your right leg. For reverse triangle, reach your right arm overhead. And be mindful not to lock your right knee, so keep a micro bend. Big inhale. Exhale to hinge at your hips for triangle pose. Keep your right arm reaching forward until you cannot reach any further, then lower your right arm down, reach your left arm high, and lean back. Keep both sides of your waist nice and long. If it helps, take your left hand to touch your right waist and make sure it's not all crumpled up. And for reverse warrior, bend your right knee, reach your right arm high, big breath in. As you breathe out, cartwheel both hands down to the mat, step your right foot back, and vinyasa through to your downward facing dog. Take a traditional chaturanga and up dog, or you can always just take the high plank, lower down to your belly, low cobra, then down dog. Take what serves you throughout the rest of today's practice. From downward facing dog, inhale to reach your left leg high. Then exhale to open up your hips, bend your knees, sink your heel towards your glute. Breathe into your left hip flexor. On your next inhale, reach your left leg high. As you exhale, step it through to a low lunge. Left knee stacked above your left ankle, spin your back heel down, and rise up, Warrior One. Take your hands to your hips and physically adjust your left hip back, right hip forward, lower belly nice and firm. Then reach your arms overhead and settle into this pose with strength. Big inhale. Exhale, open up Warrior Two. Arms are strong, lower belly is firm, left knee tracking open. For reverse triangle, straighten out your left leg, reach your left arm high. Big inhale. Exhale to hinge at your hips, reach your left arm forward until you cannot reach forward anymore, then lower your left arm down, reach your right arm high for triangle pose. Ideally, both sides of your body are very long here, so take your right hand and feel your left waist. If it's all crumpled up, then lengthen out. Reach your right arm back up, settle into your triangle pose. Breath is controlled. Then for reverse warrior, bend your left knee, reach your left arm high, big breath in. As you breathe out, take both hands down to the mat, step your left foot back, and vinyasa through to downward facing dog. And we're going to flow that sequence one breath, one movement. So find a breath that will serve you. Inhale to reach your right leg high. As you exhale, step it through to a low lunge. Setting up Warrior One, spin your back heel down, inhale to rise. Exhale, open up Warrior Two. Inhale, reverse triangle, both legs straight. Exhale to triangle pose, right arm down, left arm high. Inhale, reverse warrior, bend your right knee, reach your right arm high. Exhale, take both hands down to the mat for chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale, send it back, downward facing dog. Big breath in. long breath out. Inhale, reach your left leg high. As you exhale, step it through to a low lunge. Spin your back heel down, warrior one, breath in. As you breathe out, warrior two, open up. Reverse triangle, long breath in, left leg straightens out. To triangle pose, breathe out as you hinge at your hips, left arm down, right arm high. Inhale, reverse warrior, left knee bends, left arm reaches up. Exhale, both hands down to the mat, vinyasa through to your downward facing dog. Slow and controlled. From your down dog, reach your right leg high, then step it through to a low lunge. And set up warrior one. You've been here before, nice and strong. This time, interlace your hands behind your lower back and roll your shoulders open. Take a big breath in. Then as you exhale, hinge at your hips for humble warrior. Lower your chest down towards the mat as your knuckles reach up for the ceiling. Let your head hang heavy, your chest, maybe even your shoulders, slide inside of your front thigh. Then gently release both hands down to the mat, step your right foot back, high plank, and hold. You can modify this plank on your knees, but keep your body firm. Neck in line at the spine, puff up between your shoulders, core is strong, legs are strong. Then send it back to downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, step it through to a low lunge. Set up your warrior one, nice and strong. And when you're ready, interlace your hands behind your lower back. Inhale to puff up, open through your chest. Exhale to hinge at your hips, humble warrior. Crown of your head reaches down towards the mat. Knuckles reach up towards the ceiling. Keep your weight pressing down through your feet so your foundation is strong. Let your breath stay smooth, full, and deep. Then release both hands down to the mat, step your left foot back, high plank, and hold. Drive your weight back through your heels as you lengthen through the crown of your head. Everything firms up in between. Control your breath to keep you calm. Three, 2, 1. Send your hips back to downward facing dog. Then walk your hands to the back of your mat for gorilla pose. Bend your knees as much as you need to slide your hands underneath your feet, palms facing up. Get so much of your hand underneath your foot that your toes come all the way up to your wrists. Then feel free to wiggle out your toes or shift your weight side to side. The idea is that you're squashing the blood out of your hands, which can be very healing after spending so much time on your hands, like in plank. Then gently release your hands, shake them out. Lower down to your knees. For puppy dog pose, walk your hands forward as you lower your chest down to the mat. Let your forehead rest on the mat, but keep your hips directly above your knees. You should feel a big opening through your chest and shoulders here. Breathe into that. each breath a little smoother and deeper than the one before. If you want to go deeper in this pose, bring your mouth to the mat, or even your chin to the mat as you look up through your fingertips. Then take your time as you walk your hands back into a traditional child's pose, with your knees about hip distance or a little wider, forehead to the mat, arms down by your sides, palms facing up. Slowly rise. Take your time as you walk your hands forward and lower all the way down onto your belly. Take your left ear down to the mat, extend your left arm straight out from your side. Plant your right hand underneath your right shoulder and roll your body onto your side, opening up through your left chest and left shoulder. You can plant your right foot anywhere behind you as a kickstand. Then slowly lower your hips back down to the mat. Keep your right knee bending open like tree pose on your belly. Press into your right hand to thread your left arm all the way through underneath you so you're lying down on your left shoulder. Then reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Take a big inhale. Exhale to open up into a big twist. With each exhale, slowly relax and soften more and more into place. Curl your right arm back in. Lift up to de-thread the needle, come back to a neutral position, and switch sides. Right ear comes down, right arm extends straight out from your side. Press into your left hand to roll your body onto your right side, and plant your left foot anywhere behind you to kickstand. Relax everything you don't need, the muscles in your face, and your jaw, and focus on creating a deep breath to create space. Lower your hips back down, but keep your left knee bending open. Press into your left hand to thread your right arm through, then reach your left arm up to the ceiling and open up into a big twist. Breath is smooth and deep. Curl your left arm back in. Gently lift up, de-thread the needle, and take your time as you roll onto your back. With your feet flat on the mat, knees bent, setting up for a bridge pose. Then tuck your tailbone up to the ceiling and slowly peel your spine up off the mat. Feel your weight transfer into your shoulders. And to add a chest expansion, interlace your fingers underneath you, walking your forearms closer towards each other. Slowly release the same way you came in. And once your hips come all the way down to the mat, take the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall open, reach your arms overhead, bring your fingers to touch, and let your elbows fall open. Next, we'll take a full wheel. You're welcome to take a bridge instead as a modification. For full wheel, take your feet hip distance on the mat. Place your hands next to your ears, fingertips pointing down towards your heels. First, just lift up to the crown of your head and take a moment to settle in, ground down, get your bearings, and then you'll slowly straighten out your arms, lifting up the rest of the way into your wheel. Maintain control, and then slowly lower down the same way you came in to the crown of your head first, then all the way down to the mat. And this time rest in Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together, knees open, hands to your belly. For Happy Baby, grab onto your feet as you spread your knees open. Feel free to stay completely still or even rock a little bit side to side to massage out your lower back. Then when you're ready, release into your final Shavasana. Take your legs out long and let your feet fall open. Arms down by your sides, palms facing up. Shoulders are relaxed, neck is long. Jaw is soft. With your eyes closed, relax your eyelids. Feel your whole body melting, softening, and relaxing over time. You're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to seal this practice with a bow, roll onto one side into a fetal position, then press yourself up to seated. Bring your hands together at heart center. And may this practice remind you to stand tall, stay strong, and keep your head up. Namaste.